Sorry, I had my camera filled up there, so I've got things rearranged here now. So I got my meat. That's based on, I didn't weigh this, but I weighed the stuff I cut off. So that's about 2.5 kilos. Gonna make my marinade. Your basic marinade is pretty much, you do half and half Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce, and then add some, you need some onions. So for that much meat, I'm going with two onions about that size. Need a fair bit of garlic. I like to have some maple syrup in there. I'm going to put about 1/4 cup. But you have a 50-50 mixture of these two, say 3/4 cup each. You can add your own spices and stuff. I'm just going with the Frank's Red Hot. I also have put in there, like, I take my own rub that I make. I usually have a big jar of rub made up, but I don't have that right now. And you can put a fair bit of rub in there. Salt and pepper. Well, salt you'll get plenty of in here, but you grind some pepper in there too. So we'll have a look at that, what that looks like. And I got my little mini chopper here for chopping the onions and garlic. We'll see what that looks like. Alright, so we'll start out. We'll just put, I'm going to walk the old garlic to it there. So there's 2 big tablespoons. Those are bigger than measured tablespoons, I would have to guess. 2 of those in there. I got my onion chopped down here, so I'll put all those 2 onions in there. And then we're going to buzz that sucker up. Try to liquefy it really well, basically. The onion and the garlic will liquefy that well. And that'll buzz better with some liquid in there. So I'm going to put in some maple syrup. And we'll see what we get. That's probably 1/4 cup. You can see it's filled up there a little bit. And I might as well put my Frank's Red Hot in there. Yeah, I know some people don't like the Frank's Red Hot. They think it's too mainstream, whatever. It's still a good good hot sauce. Goes good in there. So, let me stick that on. Get on there. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to put in the soy sauce. We'll go for 3/4 cup of each. So that's going to take us up to 3/4 is over there. That'll just use up the rest of that bottle. I had another bottle that I just bought. That's not quite 3/4. So, whoops. That's not quite 3/4, so we'll give it a splash from the new bottle. And, oh, that's still not quite 3/4. That's good. So, 3/4 cup. Now the Worcestershire sauce. So you can see a theme here. Pretty much everything I got here is from Costco. Whoops. Yeah, this one's a little harder to shake out. It's got one of those shake out holes in the top. So now we're going up to the 1.5 cup mark. Whoa, come on. I'm going to run out, am I? You go through a fair bit of this stuff. But you can buy the big bottles at Costco. Same as my maple syrup is Costco. Alright, there's my 50-50. And I'll just take that. And my mixed up stuff here. And I have this bigger jug here to kind of mix them up in, and then they're going in here. I'll show you that in a moment. Alright, so I got all of the onion and garlic, that mixture in here. You can see I ground a generous amount of pepper on there. I don't know, teaspoon, something like that. Then my mixture for my other stuff. Just toss that in there, give it a good stir. And how much of this do you need? you got to cover that stuff for when it's marinating. So just give it a good stir. This should be enough to cover that, and let it marinate. If you can, I normally just go and mix this up on Friday night if I'm lucky. Right now it's Saturday, about 4 o'clock, so I'll let it marinate until close to a full 24 hours. If you can, let it marinate 2 days or 3 days even. So there's that, and we'll dump her in there. Alright, now that you gotta mix it around a little bit to get it in between all the pieces of meat, but that will be enough to cover that. If you got a really good tight sealing lid, this one isn't watertight, put the lid on and give it a little shake around, and that'll get all of the stuff mixed up without spilling it. So I'll mix it and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Alright, that's fully mixed up there. You can see it's not quite covered, but that's good enough. Give it a stir. If you can think of it every 2-3 hours, turn it over. If your container is good and watertight, just flip the container right over upside down. That's the benefit of a good watertight container, is you don't got to worry too much about stirring. You just flip the container right upside down and leave it for a few hours and then flip it again. And that's it, and then we'll show you what happens when we load it into the dehydrator. So it's now about 22 and a half hours marinating, almost 24. For those that haven't seen my dehydrator, this is it. It's a Nesco. Got it off Costco's website. It's a pretty good one. It's a little bit more difficult to stack because it's round, but it has all these layers that so it goes on there in layers, and you put stuff on in layers. You can get extra layers and stack it up. As far as that goes, it's pretty good actually. I really like it. The big thing about a dehydrator is you want one with adjustable temperature. Absolutely, gotta have it. Otherwise it's junk, don't buy it. Alright, we're going to show you what we're doing here. Okay, so there's these things here. I wish I had more of them because for jerky they're actually helpful, although just the regular one is good enough. I like to put one of the inserts on the bottom just so that if stuff is falling down through, it doesn't fall all the way to the bottom. What are you doing, dude?
Oh, there's not one down there right now.
No. This is the bottom layer. So, like I said before, for the amount of levels that I have, this is just going to barely fit in my dehydrator. So you got to really arrange this stuff carefully and have it close together and see what you can do. So I'm going to try to do this quickly, and then I'll take as much as I can on video, but I'll speed the video up so you'll see me loading it in fast motion.
Does it matter if your hands are clean when you're putting jerky on it?
Oh, well, it should. I just washed my hands, so it's a good question. Your hands should be clean when you're doing anything with food, especially if you're going to be feeding it to somebody else other than yourself.
But it's like dehydrating, and it would kill all the bacteria, right?
Well, yeah, but still, you want to be clean about what you're doing. Nothing's magic. I mean, if you're being sloppy and not... Well, I was hoping to have a nice sped up video loading the whole thing, but I was having camera issues. So I'm almost loaded up here. I've got 5 layers. We're almost done here. I may not get everything on here. It's going to be really tight. I've found in the past that with 3 kilos I can just barely get everything on there if I'm very, very careful. So I don't know what of my previous video captured properly, but I hope I got some of the points in that I wanted. It's almost loaded. I'm going to set it up. One thing I noted on my one of the other videos, you need a dehydrator with temperature control. Set it at 160. It'll be almost 3 o'clock when I start. 10 o'clock. It'll probably be done about 7 hours. I'm looking at 6 to 7 hours for this, and we'll show you what it looks like then. And you see here I've got each layer loaded up like this. Basically, it's one of the things I like about this dehydrator. I got a little bit more room here on this layer, and that's what it looks like, and we'll show you what it looks like when we're done. One more layer, I might as well show you the whole thing. That's it. Okay, see you in about 7. Okay, with a bit of rearranging, I got everything in there. 2.5 kilos. One final thing I wanted to say. Some of the recipes I see tell you to rinse before you load. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, because I want all that stuff, all the bits of onion and garlic especially sticking to there, and just all the extra flavor. I want it to dry out on the jerky and you get extra flavor. So I'm not sure why you would want to rinse it. Plus it would just be more time consuming. There it is at about 6 hours. I'm going to let it go at least another hour. There's still, as you can see from the surface area, it's contracted quite a bit. This is quite edible at this point. It's got a little bit too moisture yet in it for me to be comfortable that it's going to preserve for a good long time. So I'll give it at least another hour. We'll see how it goes. It was kind of a little bit thicker sliced than what I normally do, and so I would expect it then to take a little bit longer to dehydrate, but it's looking pretty darn good. It's going to be awfully yummy.